Good evening,
Very good
sir.
evening.
Sorry, I had a kind of misunderstanding that today we don't have any class, and that is why I was not serious that I should take it time. So just now, our coordinator sir called me off and reminded I have a class. Anyway, okay. Let me check what paper we are supposed to talk about. Economics of education, probably.
Evening 14. Yes,
No,
sir.
sir, it is political and economics perspectives of education. Paper 2,
Paper
block 2,
two.
sir.
What is that?
Sir, political and economics
Class 2, Unit 1.
perspectives of education.
Okay. Political and economics perspectives of education, isn't it? Since I don't have any text, I am also taking help of that app, IGNO app, that is e-content. Okay. So in that paper, it is starting with economics of education. I don't know if anything else. Before that, uh, it is starting with block 4. Block probably 4 is of the second paper of this. That is what you are telling. Block 2, political and economics perspectives of education. Once you click there, it is showing, it is directing to economics of education, that is unit 4, right? uh, okay, let's start then. uh, yes, economics of education. uh, let me try to understand your mind. What do you understand simply in simple terms when it comes to your mind, that is economics of education? Yes, anyone, please? Yes. uh, Education has a close kind of relationship if you try to understand in that terms with economy, and economics of education, uh, like in other situation we use, that is, for example, say economics of your like business, economics of that is doing trade and commerce, or economics of say political involvement. So likewise, in that similar uh, term, in that similar fashions, we understand economics of education, right? It precise terms, it implies that how much we spend and what way we spend for education, and in return, what do we get, how much we get, what we get, how much we get, and how we return, or how we like ensure benefit in very narrow sense, or how we like get benefited out of our expenditure in the name of education, or in the investment in the name of education. So precisely, economics of education implies that how do we spend, how much we spend, at what level, and how much we get, and what ways we get. So the returns, how much we spend and how much we get, how much returns we get. That is what precisely we mean economics of education. right? Uh, so let me check what is there in that content to uh, go further or move ahead. Like starting with the this blog, it is talking about the rate of returns to education. I believe something must be there prior to this, right, rate of returns. But I mean, uh, it, rather it should have. I don't know whether it how it is missing in that e-content, but yes, it should have also conceptual part, conceptual background. But then, just I'm giving a kind of precise background that uh, what do we mean by economics of education, right? Again, I'm repeating that that implies that how much we spend for education, uh, and what level we spend, that is also called as unit cost, right? And how much returns we get out of our expenditure, out of our, it is taken as out of our investment, how much we get, and in what ways we get. I'm repeating, that is what, and that very calculation is called economics of education, right? Precisely. Now, moving forward, we have to understand, in the beginning it has, as a part of economics of education, the rate of returns to education. There are, we have indirect or external benefits of education. So as I was telling you, that people people have taken it, the returns of education, in a very quantitative terms. When we utter the terms like benefit, benefits means, in quantitative terms, what we get and how much we get. That is, they are telling benefits, indirect or external benefits of education. So, what is indirect benefits of education and external benefits of education we are supposed to talk about? But prior to that, of course, it is talking about the benefits or returns of education. Let me first tell about something on that, benefits or returns of education. Uh, so before I tell, if you can, anyone can react on that, subject matter, that how do you perceive it, how do you understand it when it is told that there is okay, benefit, or there is returns of education, return to education, or return to investment? How do you perceive it? Do you believe in that there is a return, there is a benefit in our
Yes, sir.
education? Yes.
Yes, sir.
What way?
Yes. So actually, if we are talking about the context of India, uh, it is a matter of state and center. Education is a state and center's concern. So both center and state is spending money and giving funds for educational purposes. So now we are educating ourselves. We are getting skill training. We are getting general education and all that technical education. So after completing our education, we are contributing toward the national development. So this is a return to the country, to the state. So this is a return. I understand this way.
Right. So that is at the state level, at the national level, returns that yes, state is spending of its revenue. Say for like instance, state is spending around 4% of its GDP. At the same time, jointly, the both state government and central government, they are jointly spending around 4% of our GDP. Uh, right. And what do we get in the form of returns? That as Madhava like reacted or like attempted to like keep his perspective that yes, because of that investment of our GDP or revenue in education, like we can educate our people. Say for example, we open up opportunities for school education. We offer education at the higher level, or like we can provide higher education to our people. But how do we calculate returns? That he was telling that okay, uh, by virtue of our education, we get an employment opportunity, isn't it? At the personal level, you get an employment opportunity in any productive sector. Maybe in the private sector or in government sector, you get an opportunity. So because of that education, you get that opportunity. Now who like state sponsored education, state supported education, or when state like invested uh, it, its revenue for your education, and eventually you are getting benefited at the personal level. At the personal level, okay, you get an opportunity for your opportunity where you can like serve your economic gain, or you can reach your economic gain. But at the same time, the while taking a position, while taking an employment opportunity, at the same time you also give service to others. So like by virtue of that position, you provide service to others in different capacities. Maybe in capacity of a, say, a teacher, maybe in capacity of a doctor, maybe in capacity of an engineer, maybe in capacity of a uh, like say any I mean in service sector, like there we are employing people and we are getting service out of there. So that is a kind of returns. So it serves private return, where it creates an opportunity, it makes you capable of getting opportunity around you, and there you serve your own purpose, you reach kind of economic gain, or you like ensure economic gains for your purpose, for your interest. At the same time, you you serve others. So at the different level, we are getting benefited here, or we are benefited here, isn't it? At the personal level, we earn, or we serve our economic purpose, and eventually our our position, our service like matters for others. So that is what the intricacies of returns, that it is like the network of returns, or the like sequence of returns is understandable in a ways there, at the personal level and at the public level. So that is how our education, like uh, sorry, investment in or expenditure in education like cost returns at the private level as well at the public level, right? There are it should like make clear that there are debates there are like different arguments on this, especially in understanding the nature of returns to education, the nature of returns to our investment on education, right? As I told you that, okay, your education ensured an opportunity for you, like you take a position which serves your like economic purpose, economic gain, right? At the same time, your position like ensure service to others. So at this two level, at the private level and at the public level, the returns to education is understandable, right? That is clear. Now there are debates, there are different arguments on the nature of returns to education, nature of like uh, returns to our like expenditure in education or in investment in education. What people believe that, and also we have like surveyed figure, well calculated figure also, people have like studied figures for that. Now there are understandings that uh, the nature of returns at the private level is more in higher education, that is more in higher education, but the nature of returns or the nature and as well as the level of returns is more sorry, if I am confusing the rate of returns to our education at the higher level, at the higher education level is more of is more contributing towards a private individual, like the rate of returns otherwise is more at the private level in higher education, but like the same thing is understood as that the rate of return is higher in case of elementary education at the public level. So at the public level we have higher rate of returns and also higher nature of like the scope of returns is more larger in elementary education than the higher education. That is how people understand. So am I clear? If we try to understand the nature of returns to education and the rate of returns to education, it is believed that, or it is understood that, also it is calculated fact that the private return is more in higher education than public return. So we are talking about two kind of returns here to education. One is private return and other one is, second one is public return. So private return is more in case of higher education than the public returns or returns to public. But in case of like elementary education or school education, if you talk about, the rate of returns is the rate of returns for the public is more there in school education than the private. So now that's a fact, that is true also, that is true, and that is why we proportionally spend more in school education than higher education. Our state, that is, be it the regional governments or the central governments, proportionally it spends more in school education than higher education, because of the fact that the rate of returns, rate of public returns is more in school education than higher education. So it is quite justifiable in that sense that we should go more, we should go for more spending on school education, since it proportionally benefits more than higher education, which actually proportionally benefits more uh, at the private level. That is how it has been calculated. That is how it has been concluded, uh, while uh, while understanding the economics of education, right? I hope it is not becoming so technical to you. Yes, any feedback? Yes, any feedback, please? Hello? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you then tell anything? Because I'm sometimes I feel clueless. No, what I'm telling is that ମୁଁ ସେ returns କଥା କହୁଛି. It is ତମର ଅଛି benefits or rates of sorry returns of education. ମାନେ ଶିକ୍ଷାରେ ଯୋଉ ଆମେ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରୁଛୁ ତା returns କେତେ ଏବଂ କେମିତିଆ? Returns କହିଲେ ତାର benefit କେମିତିଆ? ତ ସେଠି ଗୋଟେ ଆମର ତାର ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୟାଲକୁଲେସନ ରହିଛି ବା ତାର ଗୋଟେ ହିସାବ ରହିଛି କି ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରୁଛୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ପାଇଁ ତାର ଦି ପ୍ରକାର ରିଟର୍ଣ୍ଣସ ଆମେ ଦେଖିବାକୁ ପାଇଥାଉ. ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ପ୍ରାଇଭେଟ ରିଟର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ପବ୍ଲିକ ରିଟର୍ଣ୍ଣ. ଏବଂ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ଦୁଇ ପ୍ରକାର ରିଟର୍ଣ୍ଣ ହଉଛି ବା ଦୁଇ ପ୍ରକାର ଯୋଉ ବେନିଫିଟ ପ୍ରାଇଭେଟ ଲେଭେଲରେ ପ୍ରାଇଭେଟ ଲେଭେଲ କଣ ନା ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲ ସ୍ତରରେ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିଗତ ସ୍ତରରେ ରାଇଟ୍ କେମିତିଆ ବେନିଫିଟ ଆଣୁଛି ବା ବେନିଫିଟ କରୁଛି ଏବଂ ପବ୍ଲିକ ବେନିଫିଟ କହିଲେ ଏଇଟା ମାନେ ସାଧାରଣ ଲୋକଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସାଧାରଣ ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ କେମିତିଆ ସେଟା ବେନିଫିଟ ଆଣୁଛି. ତ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ଟୁ କାଇଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ ଲାଇକ ରିଟର୍ଣ୍ଣସ we are getting while investing in education. So we have different two nature of returns at the same time. तो हमरो दी प्रकार रिटर्न सेठी रहिछि. दी प्रकार केमितिया ना प्राइवेट एवं पब्लिक. पुणी सेठी पुणी आउ दी प्रकार आउ केमितिया ना एठी कहा जाउछि कि स्कूल एजुकेशन रे जो रिटर्न टा रहिछि बोथ फॉर प्राइवेट एंड पब्लिक पाई. स्कूल एजुकेशन रे रिटर्न टा and more public return more public benefit ପାଇଁ ସେଟା ସହାୟକ ହେଇ ପାରୁଛି. ଆମେ ଯେତେ ମାନେ ସ୍କୁଲ ଏଜୁକେସନ ରେ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରୁଛୁ ତାର ମାନେ ବେନିଫିଟ ଟା ସାଧାରଣଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ଅଧିକା ହେଇ ପାରୁଛି. କିନ୍ତୁ ଠିକ ତାର ଅପୋଜିଟ ଆମେ ହାୟର ଏଜୁକେସନ ରେ ସାଧାରଣଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସାଧାରଣ ଜନତାଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସେତେ ବେନିଫିଟେଡ ହଉନି. ସେଟା इंडिविजुअल गेन से अधिका अच्छी माने व्यक्ति विशेष गेन अधिका अच्छी देन पब्लिक गेन पब्लिक बेनिफिट्स राइट. सपोज लाइक okay Madhava, you placed because of your like education, higher education, you get an opportunity. What kind of opportunity? Position. You took a kind of employment or you took a position where you which serves your economic interest, right? But how many like you those who have like come through that education mechanism, that is school or colleges or universities, are like getting that opportunity? Maybe 5 or maybe 10, maximum 10% people are ensuring a proper position by virtue of their higher education. But remaining 90%, what they are doing? So that interest of 10% of like population, say 10 जनଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସେଟା କଣ benefited ହେଇଛି because of their higher education, but remaining they by chance they did not get higher education, but then they have school education. At least they have school education. So now that, I mean, that benefits, the benefits to that remaining 90% in terms of kind of that exposure they have got is much more higher than the benefit that 10% people they have ensured by getting higher education and like ensuring position in different sectors. They might be like ensuring their individual benefit, at the same time they are serving people, but the remaining 90% people, those who have got exposure of school education, they have been benefited in different walks of life, and the intricacies of returns is quite higher, very complex to understand, but then the nature of returns or the like intricacies of return to that 90% is much higher than the 10%, like those who ensure through their higher education. So that is how actually it is calculated that the rate of returns for public is more in school education than higher education. Precisely, the rate of returns and the nature of return as well is much higher in school education than higher education. Precisely. Okay. आमर जो जो भी आमे जहाँ भी खर्च करूँ शिक्षा पे सेथिरे आमर भल रिटर्न बा भल बेनिफिट अच्छी स्कूल एजुकेशन रे बा अधिका बेनिफिट अच्छी स्कूल एजुकेशन कहबा को गले किंतु हायर एजुकेशन रे व्यक्तिगत स्तर रे बेनिफिट अधिक किंतु पब्लिक स्तर रे तार बेनिफिट कम बा रिटर्न टा कम ए हैला माने माने प्रिसाइसली आमे जदी कहबा राइट. Moving ahead, we have subject matter to understand, that is indirect or external benefits. Just as I was telling you, indirect benefit or external benefits. How do you understand indirect benefit? What is indirect or external benefits of education? Direct or external, it is called. I'm also wondering, let me join anyone if you can react on that. Direct benefit. What is direct benefit? Subhasri is like nodding his her head. Direct benefit is what? You get an employment opportunity because of your education.
Yes, sir.
You get salary at the regular interval every month.
Yes, sir.
That is direct benefit. And then what is indirect benefit? What are those indirect benefits you get from education?
Sir, in my point of view, indirect and or external benefit means मतलब जो हम लोग तो जो सैलरी मिलता है वो तो डायरेक्ट वाला होता है, जो इनडायरेक्ट वाला होता है जो हम लोगों को कुछ पाने के लिए मतलब जॉब करने के लिए जो एजुकेशन देता है, जो मतलब हम लोगों को प्लेसमेंट देता है, उसको हम मानते हैं कि इनडायरेक्ट बेनिफिट. मतलब वे ऑफ प्लेसमेंट मतलब हम लोगों को जो एजुकेशन देता है ना, एजुकेशन से माध्यम से हम लोग प्लेसमेंट तक जाते हैं, तो विदाउट एजुकेशन तो हम लोग कुछ नहीं कर पाते, तो इसको आई थिंक उसको इनडायरेक्ट बेनिफिट.
Placement is what direct benefit. Christy, your name is very long. I cannot read your name so long. Christy, right? Priyambada Priyadarshini. Now, placement is a direct benefit, but what is indirect or external benefits we get? Yes, anyone can reflect on that?
Hello?
Yes.
Sir, I mean indirect benefit of education is the way we get better quality, better society, or the way education modifies the social thinking. I think so.
Yes, yes, correct. That is. Anyone? Any other things there?
Hello, sir.
Yes. With this,
Dhaditri Patra, sir.
yes. Tell me. What is
Sir,
your?
when our behavior changed in direct way, that is called a indirect benefit from education. When our behavior is a positive due to education, we call it a indirect benefit from education.
Yes, yes. So, do you think that you have like materialized it, or you simply saying it?
We simply say it, sir.
You are simply saying. So that
Yes,
is
sir.
not a benefit then. You have to like put it in a very concrete sense. Okay, but then you are right. You are right that indirect benefits, maybe we can say that as like Prusty put it, the direct benefit maybe the direct benefit maybe a kind of social status you get because of your education. That is a kind of direct benefit. Direct benefit may be kind of uh, employment opportunity you get, and thereby you eh, you also ensure economic gain. These are all direct benefit. Maybe you get a better partner when you are well qualified, you are postgraduate, you are a graduate, you get a better partner. That is also a kind of direct benefit. Partner, I mean a life partner. Marriage, you get a better candidate, right? Because of your education. No, people have a kind of impression that since you are educated, you must be having some good qualities. That's the kind of impression. That is a kind of impression, and that's the benefit you get. So that comes under indirect benefit. But besides that, like direct benefit, like other things, external benefits we get, like earlier someone is telling uh, that we like we get what we expect from others in terms of what. What you can expect from others, you can expect a kind of what, desired behavior, isn't it? A acceptable behavior you get from others. Now, what is that acceptable behavior you get from others? Because of your education, how education like probably because of education, one can develop better understanding, can like and can develop better understanding about what, about like one's own uh, one's own rights and duties. And if someone can understand one's own rights and duties and responsibilities because of education, and that helps that individual to behave in a proper manner, right? So there we get a kind of benefit that is maybe called as external or indirect benefit. Suppose like you know that uh, know that for example, like uh, s- simple terms, that spitting in public places, this is becoming a this may not be a good example, but for example, like the expected behavior that because of education that we produce. For example, other terms like, okay, uh, say for example, Let's talk about fundamental rights, right? Fundamental rights, maybe uh, just tell the uh, right to life, right to freedom, right to freedom, like comprises many things. Right to speak, right to move, uh, right to uh, right to settle, right to profess, right to do economic activities, right? These are what these all come under fundamental rights, right? Now you have if you have kind of formal exposure of this knowledge or this information, or formal, you have like formal education about these rights and duties, then you can exhibit, or you exhibit an expected behavior before others. Now those who do not have that kind of exposures, kind of knowledge, or kind of orientation, usually they do not help you, they cannot help you, they are not reliable. How they would be behaving, you don't understand, right? So that is a kind of what indirect returns or external returns to education. What else can be? I'm looking for a concrete example, and if anyone can bring that, bring some example that will be more interesting for all of us. Yes, anyone, if you can bring example of external benefits of education. Yes, please. Indirect or external benefits. What else we have? See, uh, the benefits generally we get at the public level. Those are indirect, mostly those are indirect, or mostly those are external benefits. Direct benefit is more of private in nature, that okay, you get social recognitions, you get social status, you get um, better position, you get economic economic gain, or you ensure economic gain. These are all direct benefits. Now external or indirect benefits are more of public in nature, right? So if the government is spending on education, say for example 4% of GDP, or 5% of GDP. Now what sort of like external benefits or indirect benefits it is bringing for public? They're like uh, okay, like we can maintain a kind of social order, a kind of mutual understanding, because of the fact that when we get orientation about what uh, like the state policies, state principles, state uh, something called state law and order, we understand, okay, there is law and there is order, right? And that is through education we get to understand in a better way that what is law and order, what are the state principles, state policy, and accordingly we direct our behavior. We uh, we behave in public. So that is a kind of indirect benefit of education. Beyond that, what else we are getting from like education? Like okay, we are developing in the field of science and technology, in the field of medicine, in the field of like agriculture, in agricultural science, in space science, in uh, maritime zones, like, so, like, we that actually that I mean that our expenditure in those fields procuring benefits. Now, how you are benefited from, like, investment in, say for example, in medical science. Today we are looking for a a vaccine to develop our immune system, or like to like fight with COVID-19, isn't it? Our scientists are relentlessly, or like they are engaged, they are constantly engaged in discovering uh, a virus, sorry, an antivirus, a vaccine which should help us to rescue, or like to fight against the COVID-19 virus. So now that more likely we are about to get it, we are likely to get a breakthrough there, or a success there. So there are, of course, private agencies are involved there, those like in spending in uh, in that medical science, but at the same time our government is also spending a lot, like in that education, in that medical science, that medical education, we are spending much. So we are about to get benefit, or we are getting benefit in medical science, in the form of medicine, in the form of vaccines, whatever you may say, right? So that is a kind of what, again, indirect benefit from investment of education. um, Now it is understood that people understand there are direct benefits or indirect benefits, but to my mind, if you take my view, those are all direct benefits, direct return. In fact, when you are directly linked with, the benefits can be direct, and like everywhere actually we are directly linked with, but then people like categorically keep it in like box, or trying to compartmentalize it, that we have private and we have like or we have direct benefit and we have indirect or external benefits. But like all, if you look at, try to understand, those benefits are more of direct in nature. Somewhere we are directly linked with the benefit, right? So this is an example of, again, external or indirect benefit we are talking about. Now we'll move forward. We have financing of education. How do we finance? Who finance our education? So there we have agencies of financing education, financing of education by parents, financing of education by employers. So financing of education, we do finance our education. Now, we'll talk about financing, like agencies financing education. Who are the agencies? State is considered as an agency. State or India as a whole is considered as an agency of education, right? Um, like we have, if you state-wise, if you consider that we have as many as, like, independently we have 29 states. How many states we have today?
28
29.
states, sir.
Yes, and
28.
yes, and our union territories,
9.
where they independently, they themselves can claim their agencies of education, because they they exclusively, they like earmark revenue for education of their people. They keep some like percentage of their revenue for the education of their people, for like school education, for as well as for higher education. So the state themselves can be called as called agencies of financing in that sense. And then if you take India as a whole, take the country as a whole, is also an agencies of education. But then it has different mechanisms in financing education. Like for example, for India, we have agencies for that. Like for higher education, we have university grants commissions as an agencies of financing education. We have university grants commissions. We have that is UGC, University Grants Commission. Then we have ICSSR, that is called like Indian Council for Social Science Research. Then we have like CSIR, that is Council of like CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Uh, then we have like uh, for technical education, we have AICT as well, All India Council for Technical Education. So these are the agencies which actually finance uh, finance like finance education, finance those higher education institution, be it colleges or universities, uh, for providing higher education, right? So they through those agencies, so the country itself is an agency, but it cannot, it has its own mechanisms, or like agencies or seconding agencies, which actually help in practice in disbursing funds, disbursing or financing the institution engaged in exercising or in providing higher education or in providing education. Like as I took the name like UGC, ICSSR or CSIR or your AICT and many more likewise, right? Then as I told you, we have like state at the regional level. Like every state is an agency itself, right? Which determines font, which determines revenue for the cause of education, cause of either school education or higher education. So like as in every financial year, state uh, keeps some funds, keep some revenue for education, right? And that is what we call, that is financing of education, right? Agencies of like agencies um, agencies of education, and the financing of education is that what, that how the government like give revenue or reserve revenue for education is what we call financing agencies. I mean state agencies of financing education, right? Then financing of education by parents, your parents also now this public spending or agencies of, or where agencies exclusively, that is like public agencies uh, themselves are not enough for education, right? So their parents also, they independently finance for the education of their children, for the education of their wards, isn't it? So for school education as well as for higher education, right? These days it is, and the parent financings uh, is found to be more uh, increasing trend. We are witnessing a increasing trend in parent financing for the education of their works, right? Because of like why it is so, it is found that in the recent times that the public agencies, that is state government or like central government, they have started withdrawing support to I mean relatively they are starting withdrawing their full place support for education, school education or higher education, right? As a result, we have like private education institution uh, for school education as well as for higher education. Now, who is actually financing that? Our parents are financing for education, that is for school education or for higher education, right? We have private schools, yes or not? Yes, we have private school, and who are financing for our education in private school? Parents, right? So that is what we call, likewise in higher education as well. Like parents are financing for their education. This is what technically we call financing of education by parents. Then another terms we have financing of education by by employers, by employers. That is how it by employers. Mind this. Uh, I don't think we have such kind of practice in India, that where employer, suppose you are employee of a particular you are employee of a particular organization. For example, I am employee of Ravensa University, right? Now, how Ravensa University is financing for my education, financing for education of my kids, my children. So I'm giving a context to you. I'm creating a context to you. So since financing of education by employer, one who employs you finance your education or our education. That is how. I mean, in India, it is not. In India, it is not so common thing, but probably it might be there uh, somewhere else or outside India. But in India, we have a very restricted practice where actually our employer finance for education. Okay. In other terms, one can understand that since it is when it is told that employer finance for education for whom? For employee. So how does it actually finance? Probably in that terms, one can say that if suppose uh, like if I'm interested to go outside for a training for an education program, maybe outside India or maybe within India, if I am going, if I am like I'm required to go outside my state. Now, Ravensa University spends money for me for my traveling, for my staying outside, right? So that is a kind of uh, financing. That is also a nature of financing by the employer for the education of the employee. Not that that employer in India, particular India, that employer spends like revenue or spends money for the education of the employee. Do you have such kind of instances in your experience? If anyone can add that. जोटी की हमरो यस एम्प्लॉयर जोटी की हमरो माने एम्प्लॉई रो शिक्षा व्यतीत जोटी से एम्प्लॉई रो पिला छुआ हुअन्तु बा तांकर शिक्षा से रो मध्य व्यवस्था करिते मु जानि बारे एमितिया ते नाही हम इंडिया रे हां यस माधव
सर ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ପର୍ସପେକ୍ଟିଭରୁ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷଟାକୁ
ହଁ
କହୁଛି। ମତେ କହିବେ ଶେଷରେ ଏଇଟା ମୁଁ ଠିକ କହିଲି କି
ହଁ
ଭୁଲ କହିଲି। ସାର୍ 2018-19ରେ
ହଁ
ICMR ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ଗୋଟେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରୁଥିଲା ଆମର ଟିଭିକୁ ନେଇକି। ତ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚରେ ସେ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟମେଣ୍ଟ ଦେଇଥିଲା, ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କର ଜଣେ ଡକ୍ଟର ଥିଲେ, ସେ ଯାହାକୁ ଯିଏ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କଣ୍ଡକ୍ଟ
ହଁ
କରୁଥିଲେ, ତା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ କିଛି ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲଏଡ ବି ହେଇଥିଲେ ଟେମ୍ପୋରାରିଲି ଯେ ସେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚରେ କାମ କରିବା ପାଇଁ। ତ ସେଇ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ वी अंडरस्टैंड रिसर्च इज ए पार्ट ऑफ एजुकेशन एंड से स्पॉन्सर करथिले प्रोग्राम टाको। से जे डॉक्टर थिले से सेठिकार डॉक्टर जे कि एम्प्लॉयड हेचंती फॉर रेगुलर
राइट
सर्विस।
राइट
तो तो सेटा को हम कहि परिबी कि सर एम्प्लॉयर्स फाइनेंसिंग ऑफ एजुकेशन एटा कहि
Yes,
परिबे।
yes, that is so. That is why I cited an example that when I am interested, I can go outside for my education. I'm an employee of Ravenshaw University of an organization. So wherever I require, I can go for education to outstation to abroad, right? And like an organization that employer supports me here. Who is the employer? Actually the government is employer, so government supports me for my education there. That is a kind of education I am getting, being an employee of an organization. But in other terms, like in other situation, that it's not that employer is financing the education of employees, like successors, employees, uh, close people, or employees kids, or employees kids. It's not like that, right? So that is a kind of restricted practice we have, where actually employer finance for the education of the employee, right? Okay.
सो ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ଯୋଉ ଆମର ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟୀ ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କ ପିଲା ଛୁଆ ପାଠ ପଢିବା ପାଇଁ ଆମର କେଭି ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି, କେନ୍ଦ୍ରୀୟ ବିଦ୍ୟାଳୟ ଅଲ୍ ଓଭର ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ। ସୋ ସେଇଟା ଫାଇନାନ୍ସଡ ବାଇ MHRD। ସୋ ଆମେ ତାକୁ କହିପାରିବା କି ଯେ ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ
uh,
ଏଜୁକେସନ ପାଇଁ ଫାଇନାନ୍ସ କରୁଛି, ଏଇଟା କହିପାରିବେ କି ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟର୍ସ ର
କେଭିରେ
କାଇଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ?
କେଭିରେ କହୁଛ ତ?
ଆଜ୍ଞା
That is, yes, that is. I mean, I also doubt in NCRT if it is happening. Those who are like employees of this constituents region, that is like RIs, all RIs, Regional Institute of Education. Their children, I mean, besides the employees, their children also like get opportunity or some sort of incentives in education. So it is there in Kendriya Vidyalaya. He is right. Madhava is right that it is there in Kendriya Vidyalaya. That I mean, education, the expenditure of the education of their children or employees' children are also taken care of by whatever minimum, or they are like they are made free of any kind of charge.
Also, sir, naval and air force, any central government employees and their children get benefited for in school education.
Yes, yes. See, especially in as you are telling that those who are in defense, like maybe in army or naval or in air force or in paramilitary like CRPF or IRP, like we have this kind of
सर जो
uh,
अगेन
state.
कंपनी तो सर आपका ये सही बेनिफिट दे रहा है, वो तो एजुकेशन फाइनेंस रिलेटेड होता है.
Hmm. No, we have provisions there for, I mean, children of those employees that through like through government actually, not through employer as such. They we have kept special provisions for them, like wherever minimum charge are taken from the uh, like consumers, you may say, or from the stakeholders. Not even that minimum charge are taken from the like words of those employees. But again, those are not financing directly by the employers as such. Those are right. They are financed by the governments, state agencies, rather the employer as such. But in case of like uh, relatively autonomous organization, like where they have their own like sources of revenue, they can like charge on their own revenue instead of the revenue they have, instead of the funds they have taken from directly from the government. So they can charge on the revenue they have generated by their own for the education of their employees, right? So this is there. But in case of, as you are telling that, the like kins of those militaries forces or like paramilitary forces, um, I mean, whatever benefits they are getting or their children are getting are directly those are taken care of by the governments, right? Yes. Now, where actually, okay, financing of education by employers. Now let's move forward. We have done cost and cost effectiveness. Uh, there we have different like uh, different terms and different nature of cost analysis. The current and capital cost of education. Current and capital cost. Then we have direct and indirect costs. Then private cost of education. Then we have social cost of education. That is, I mean, public cost or social cost of education. Then unit cost of education. These are all important, like uh, concepts we are like supposed to understand or clarify. Current, and let's start with current and capital cost of education. Um, Current, that's the terms itself implies uh, that how much actually we are spending for education at a given point of time, at a given financial year. Now, how much we are spending 5 years back, suppose like 5 crores that our state government was spending for like current cost of education 5 years back, 5 crores, for example, 5 years back. So, but today, which was 5 years back, it was 5 crores, today it might be 10 crores. So current means the ongoing financial year, right? So that is net or gross, you may say, that how much we give for our education in the current financial year. That is current cost. Suppose like we net cost of education of this financial year, for say for example 10,000 crores rupees this financial year, which may not be same in the next financial year, that is 2020 2021, may not be the same, right? So the net cost we bear in the current financial year is what we tell that is current cost of education, that is that we spend for school education as well as for higher education. Then we have the capital cost of education, that is net. Capital means here that the net amount we spend for education in a current financial year by the state, like here we are not like looking at the like revenues we generate sometimes in PPP modes, that is what you call private public partnership mode. What happens is sometimes that the government has given space to private players to take share of the education. So they like with the confidence of that particular educational institution, they take some space and they like offer education and they charge separately for that education, right? So that becomes part of that organization. Besides the government fund, the government suppose 5 crores the government directly contributes to Ravensa for the current financial years. But besides that 5 crores, suppose 2 crores is generated by the private players through Ravensa University, So that 2 crores is different from the 5 crores. The 5 crores is what? The capital cost, and the remaining rest 2 crores is what? That is different. That is what you can say gross cost of education, right? But that is that net how much we spent for education in the current financial year is what? Capital cost of education, right? Then you can get more clarification when you consult the text again. Then we have direct and indirect cost of education. What is direct cost? That suppose you take an admission in IGNOU, right? You might have been charged with some amount, say for example 10,000 for your course, 10,000 that you have been charged for your education in IGNOU. So that 10,000 is what? Direct cost, right? And what is then indirect cost? Now besides that 10,000, actually like we are giving cess, we are giving education cess, right? Indirect cost here is like suppose like if you are purchasing a goods, right? there is we are taxing you in um, like providing you that good service. We are taking tax from you. That is called cess. So tax which is like meant for education, which actually we like we materialize that tax for because of education is called cess, cess, cess. So on that goods service, for that consumption of good, we are giving some cess, or we are giving some tax. We are being charged for tax there. So that today it is 3%. In there are in many goods, right? There we are charging goods and services. We are charging cess. So that is indirect cost of education, right? But we don't mind that. We don't mind that. That I think that the 10,000 I have like given to IGNU. I take it is what the net amount. Okay, that is net amount you have given to take admission in this program. But then, besides that, you are being you are being charged constantly while going for consuming goods and services in different situation, right? So that is what indirect cost of education, right? We are bearing. Now let's move forward. What else we have? Then we have private cost of education. That is understood. Private cost of education, the money you spend for your education, that not by the government. The money actually you spend for your education is what you call private cost. Okay, for to get education, that money you spend is what you call private cost, right? And what government bears is what we call public or social cost of education, right? What the government of Odisha, what the cost like beared by the government of India, or taken care of by the government of India, is called social cost of education, right? Or public cost of education. How much the government is spending for education is what we call social cost of education or public cost of education, right? Then we have unit cost of education. Unit means like how much you spend on an individual. Suppose in a school we have 100 students. So how do you calculate that how much we are spending for the education of a single individual in that school? So when we make any analysis, unit analysis, maybe like suppose we are spending, say for example, 5 lakhs in a current financial year, or in an academic session. Suppose we are spending 5 lakhs. So like 100 students, 5 lakhs is divided by 100 students. So now we get individual cost there, right? Munda picha kete kharcha hochi seta jana padibo. So that is what we call unit cost of education. When we spend, or how much we spend at the individual level, that is what we call unit. So unit maybe sometimes unit may be taken in the form of individual, that is the person, maybe taken in the form of a school, may be taken in the form of a college, may be taken can be taken in the form of university. Suppose we have 10 state universities in India, sorry, in Odisha. Now, so what is the unit cost of these universities? How much we are spending for these 10 universities? So the total amount we spend in a academic session or in a current financial year can be divided, that is divided by the 10 universities. So whatever comes is what we call unit cost. Likewise, suppose we have 100 higher education colleges we have. So how much we spend in an academic session or in a current financial years is what the amount we spend is divided by 100 colleges or higher education institution. Then whatever we get is what we call unit cost, right? That is what we call unit cost of education. All right. I think that won't be a problem. Then let's move to here. I want to skip this one. It's not so necessary. Here we have the internal and external efficiency. Internal and external efficiencies of education. That is here in the context of efficiency in the context of uh, the economics of education. Suppose if we are um, taking cost of education at the different level, at the individual level, at the public level, at the social level, then we also always look for the efficiency of of that fund. How we are how meticulously we are spending that, or how meticulously we are utilizing, we are engaging that font for the cause of education. What we what we what we think about, what we uh, like intend to do about, right? So that is internal and external efficiencies there. Internal that is how seriously uh, an organization or an institution of education is like dealing with the financial matters directly, or sometimes how seriously an institution is uh, discharging its like it responsibilities, right? Since it is supported by the individual, it is supported by the public, then in the form of fund supports, then how internally it is transparent, it is efficient in terms of spending the fund directly given to, directly funded to the agency, and also in terms of channelizing the human resources supported to that supported with uh, or supported by the state or by the public to that institution, right? So internally how it is efficient, that is what actually our uh, that again, since we are um, there is economics of education. When we talk about that in terms of returns of education, that again now it comes that returns there the matter of returns comes to play its role, that how internally we are efficient in discharging our responsibilities in terms of providing education to the stakeholders, right? So now if we can produce the service up to the expectation, up to the level of expectation of the stakeholders, then one can say that yes, internally we are good enough, we are doing good. But if we cannot come to come to the expectation level of the stakeholders, then probably we are not doing internal efficiencies. Now, internal efficiency can come under the scan of public, uh, can be criticized by public. Okay, it's not doing well. Then external efficiency. How do you understand? External efficiency is again that's a matter of external accountability. Now, that the purpose, the very purpose of education, the very purpose of the institution, how it is being materialized in like uh, in external sphere. External spheres means now, okay, um, uh, now, say for instance, I always take Ravensa as an example here. Ravensa University uh, is a public organization, public institution, public university, supported uh, supported fully by the government of Odisha as well as government of India, isn't it? Yes or no? Are you with me or you have all left?
No, sir, we are.
Okay, so I'm giving an example of like external efficiency of Ravensa,
Okay.
right?
Yes, sir.
Internal is that what we are doing, we claim that yes, we are doing all right. We are doing our best, what we are claiming. Ravensa is claiming. The people of the teachers of Ravensa or like the administration of Ravensa is claiming that they are doing very well. That is what internal efficiency we call. Okay, if you are doing well, then you are proving your internal efficiency. Good, you are doing well. But when it comes to external assessment, external efficiency, now how do we ensure? Now the what we do in Ravensa University, uh, that should be given a credit. That should be also uh, given a should get appreciation from others, not by your parents only. If you are students of Ravensa University, your parents are telling, okay, uh, our our uh, our child is doing well in Ravensa. That's a kind of internal efficiency. But besides your parents, people around you or people around your parents also having a kind of impression. Okay, because of your like your capacity, because of your abilities, that other also equally recognize your capacity, equally recognize uh, your like abilities outside. So how it is possible when you can like prove yourself as a like product of Ravensa University? You can like you can prove yourself in serving people, maybe in a productive sector, any for productive sectors, or maybe in any in the field of social affairs, in the field of politics. When you can prove your capacity there in terms of like procuring a like position for your own livelihood, for your own like uh, uh, that is private return we are talking about. For your private returns, you have ensured that you get an employment opportunity, but at the same times others too also get benefit out of your presence there. You give service, you extend supports, somewhere you fulfill, you also become a kind of helping hand for others. So then only that their like external efficiency is is proved, or external efficiency is like ensured, right? So that is what we are talking about, public returns, right, or public benefits, or indirect benefits, or external benefits we are talking about. That is external efficiency otherwise, right? So what you are, that should not be confined to you and your institution. That is that should be recognized, that should be also productive outside you, outside your organization. Then only you can be called as externally efficient, right? So that is what. Let's move forward. Yes, anything you would like to share on this? No, again, benefits or returns of education, it is already we have talked about. I am browsing in my cell phone on that app. Now it is there, political economy of education. This is something important. This is something uh, technical to understand, no, and interesting at the same time to understand, and we should understand. That is called political economy of education. Politics involved there. The question, political economy of education. Now, why we should like go for spending in education? What sort of interests are involved there? Definitely, there are different interests involved there. So that is what we call politics. So the answer that why should we go for public spending in education? Why should we go for regulating education? Why not it should be made a kind of independent independent work, independent uh, independent affair, without any state interference, without any state intervention? Answer to these questions is what politics of, what do you call that, politics of education, or political economy of education. Political economy of education. Why should we go for spending for public education? Yes. So the answer is what? Political economy of education. Yes. What is your perception? Why should we go for spending for education? Why should we go for public spending for education? Why not it should be taken care of by the individual all the times, in all situations? Yes, please. କହୁନ ଆମେ କାହିଁକି no economics, political economy of education, ଏଠି ଗୋଟେ ଭାରି ମାନେ କଣ ସେ ଆମେ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ କହୁ ତାକୁ, ବହୁତ ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ ବଡ଼ ଲୋଡେଡ୍ ଗୋଟେ ଟର୍ମ ସେଠି ପୁରେଇ ଦିଆ ହେଲା, ପଲିଟିକାଲ ଇକୋନୋମି। ଯେତେ ପଲିଟିକାଲ ଯେତେବେଳେ କହି ଦିଆ ହେଲା ପଲିଟିକାଲ ଇକୋନୋମି ଅଫ ଏଜୁକେସନ, ତାର ଓଡ଼ିଆ କଣ ହେବ ଏକ୍ଜାକ୍ଟଲି ମୋ ମୁଣ୍ଡକୁ ପଶୁନି, କିନ୍ତୁ ସେଟା ଭାରି ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ ଓଜନିଆ ଲାଗୁଛି ନାହିଁ? ତ ତାର ସେଇଟା ଯଦି ଆମେ ଯଦି ଏଇ ମାନେ ମୋ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ସର ଉତ୍ତର ଯଦି ତମ ପାଖରେ ଅଛି, ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ପଲିଟିକାଲ ଇକୋନୋମି ଅଫ ଏଜୁକେସନ। କି ଆମେ କାହିଁକି ଆମେ ଶିକ୍ଷାର ଆର୍ଥିକ ଭାରଟା ଆମେ ବହନ କରିବା, କାହିଁକି? ଆମେ କହିଲେ ସରକାର, सरकार कहले नुहे नवीन बाबू आमठू अलग नुहंती दैट नवीन वी आर विथ नवीन द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ ओडिशा इज दैट इज योर्स गवर्नमेंट सो जो सरकार जो पैसाटा खर्च करछि बा भारत सरकार जो पैसाटा खर्च करछि शिक्षा पे काहे की खर्च करछि काहे की खर्च करछि काहे की ताको मैनेज करछि तो तार उत्तर हैला दैट इज तार उत्तर हैला एक्चुअली पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी ऑफ एजुकेशन हैला सो प्लीज यस घनश्याम किछ कहबा परे थिला
It's for our benefit and also for state benefit and also for central benefit. Political education and political economy for towards education is most important, and that's why it develop our state also, state economy also, and our educational idea also increase.
यस ब्लू इज कमिंग
सर सर जो सरकारंकर हमर पैसा जो कोन कहउछन जे इकोनॉमिक डेवलप होबो जेमिति कि एजुकेशन द्वारा बहुत नॉलेज गेन करी कि हमर सोसाइटी रे वर्क होबो जो कंपनी मनरे स्किल एम्प्लॉय भारिबे तो
ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलप करछ नै
हां तो पैसा जीवन ना गवर्नमेंट डेवलप करिवो ना इकोनॉमी के हमर ग्रोथ करिवो ना तो सेथि पई ए सब मेन फोकस होची सरकारंकर केमती हमर इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ होबो सेथि पई से माने एजुकेशन रे अधिक पैसा निवेश करछन जेहेतु एजुकेशन रे निवेश कले बहुत इंटेलिजेंट पीपल हेबे बोले गोटे जिंस को हमको गोटे दिन जोडा लागुथिला सेटा हमें स्किल हे गेले बहुत कम समय रे अधिक जिंस काढी परिबा तो ए सब हेले इकोनॉमिक हमर डेवलप होउछ आ किछि नै इकोनॉमिक डेवलप पे का एजुकेशन रे सरकार बहुत पैसा निवेश करछंती एजुकेशन रे
तले ओके दैट इज सेठी इकोनॉमिक रिटर्न बेसी अछि तनु करी हमें हमरो माने सरकारनकर सेठी बहुत इंटरेस्ट होछि सेतरे सेतरे इन्वेस्ट करबा बा सेतरे ताको रेगुलेट करबा नै दैट इज okay but yes any other okay किसी कहबे मु चाहू because this is an interesting thing to understand
हेलो
yes गीतांजलि
सर मो मते जेमति हमर अलगा सब डेवलपमेंट कंट्रीब्यूट अछि तो इकोनॉमिक बेसी स्ट्रांग अछि इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन so that आमे यदि हमर एजुकेशन रे इकोनॉमिक माने ता द्वारा किछि डेवलप हेई पारिला तो आमे भी जो डेवलपमेंट कंट्री मानको सहित माने तुलना हेई करबा
तमे समझते इकोनॉमिक सेंट्रिक हे जाउ छ माने खाली इकोनॉमिक ज्ञान अछि तण करी हमें हम सरकार शिक्षा क्षेत्र रे कोन ना खर्च करूची
आज्ञा
हैं सेटा तो सेमितिया भी हे पारि थांता सेमितिया भी like those who are not much educated they're doing better like in business they are doing better business they are like making more money than those who are really educated. Oh, yes, anyone? No, try to again. Yes, Madhav.
Uneducated people माने भी अधिक माने इनकम करि परिबे कि बिजनेस ओरिएंटेड ही परिबे किंतु एजुकेटेड पीपल एंड बट अनएजुकेटेड पीपल रे वास्ट डिफरेंस रहइबो से किछि क्राइटेरिया को नै जे केमति मैनेजमेंट करि परिबो कि ता तो अधिक डेवलपमेंट करि परिबो सेतरे एजुकेटेड पीपल पाखरे अधिक माने अधिक क्वालिटी है किंतु गोटे जिनिस को कम टाइमिंग भितर अधिक मैनेज करिकी ଅଧିକ ଇକୋନୋମି ଡେଭଲପ କରେଇ ପାରିବ।
Okay. Actually, you are again restricting yourself. Try to understand my questions. Since it is like we are
Actually,
learning.
this particular unit becoming more complicated to understand. If you can simplify to understand.
Hand, hand. That is why I have put you in that trap. That is, I'm compelling you to think about, or in a way, I'm stimulating you. So again, come back to the questions I have put. That like why government is so keen, why the public is so keen to or keeping so much interest in like uh, spending for public education. Although it these days it is we find that there is a like there is a trend of uh, withdrawing public support, like that is public fund that earlier used to have or used to have. But then again, I come to that question that why uh, there is a uh, state intervention in it. There is a state interference in it, in uh, in like taking initiatives for education of its people. Actually, there are many political reasons behind that, many political rationales, many political logics behind that, many political arguments behind that, many political justification behind that. And that is why we are going for what? Public spending, public financing for education. And that is what we call political economy of education. So when it is regulated to a greater extent, when our revenue is regulated to a greater extent, when our the mechanisms of educations are regulated to a great extent by the mechanisms of the state themselves, or state itself, then it becomes what we call that. That is why we call political economy of education. So what like political, what sort of political interest, what sort of political rational political arguments there behind this public spending, right? So as you have rightly pointed out, that one of the very simple rationale is that development of human resource, development of human resource. So uh, education what can make what we education can give us developed human resource, what you call knowledge based or skill based human resource, what we need in our day-to-day life, in different walks of life, that we we get from uh, a sources that is called educational institutions. So human resources we get from sources, those are educational institutions. So that, so to develop those human resources, we need to have an organized attempt, unlike any sporadic attempt that you and me, we take care of the entire like responsibility of education. That is next to impossible. So for this, like 100 and around 30 crores population, like few people cannot take the responsibility of developing human resource. For that sake, if we like really intend to determine to develop human resource for our own consumption, for our own sake, then we require to finance it. We require to take that public themselves have to take the responsibility. The people of India have to take the responsibility, and that is why we have different mechanisms. That is why we have different uh, like time to time we bring different policy for regulating education, right? That is one of the uh, like important the vital rationale behind like political economy of education. Since we wish to like have required human resources for our own sake, we need to we require to like finance education. We require to like public has to finance for education. That is one thing. Now, in a state like ours, in a country like ours, which is like called as welfare state, welfare country, where we have like wide nature of diversity, where people of different capacity, of different backgrounds live. Now, now, like it cannot be expected that all of us can like afford for education, afford education. There are like majority of people in India. We have a situation where we need public attention. We need the government attention for their education, right? So therefore, again, the politics is involved. Why we like keep that interest? Why government is intervening there? Why government is interfering there? Simply because with the fact that since we have a kind of diversity, that like all of us cannot afford independently for our education. We need to have like public attention or the state attention for the education of the at least for those who cannot afford for their education, right? So simply that is where the government has to be there, and that is what we call political economy of education. That is why politics is involved there in like in regulating our fiscal, in regulating our revenue, in regulating like uh, state revenue or the government revenue. uh, that kind of political, intense political like attention is there, and that is what we call political economy of education. Okay, we are very close to our time. Maybe I don't know how much time they will give, but uh,
So we can continue for some more time. There
yes.
is no.
Okay. Now I'm just browsing that what else is there to address. No, I have already touched upon the, I mean, the major subject matter we are supposed to uh, deal with, or we are supposed to understand to deal with the subject matter like like political and economic perspectives of education, right? Now, I just quickly summarize things that first of all, we should understand that precisely what is economics of education, right? As I told you, economics of education, you see again the concept or what is there. Then, then the nature of um, costing education, nature of financing education. We have like direct financing, indirect financing, or direct cost, indirect cost. Then we have also talked about direct returns, indirect returns, or like what do you call that, private returns or external returns or returns to education, where I have also often I have emphasized that the rate of returns is also there is a different nature of rate of returns for school education as well as for higher education at different levels, that is at the private as well as at the public level. So that you should always keep in your mind. Once you go through the text, you will be able to know. Um, then eventually we like um we talk about the cost of education, right? Cost in the sense that is what do you call that? Uh, Private cost, social cost, then current cost, capital cost of education. These are the what we covered today. Then that important things that you should always be carrying with you is that uh, that political economy of education, right? Why we should, why the government should be there? Why not? Why can't we afford to think that it should be exclusively a private affair? So if you could manage to answer that, manage to understand that fact, that is enough to understand what is political economy of education, right? Uh, okay, uh, that must let's stop here because like our technical persons were uh, they are there to wind off the today's uh, like affairs of today's this program. Okay, if anyone can would like to keep some questions, queries on this subject matter, can you can please. As Madhava, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If I am correct, you had taken admission in Ravenshaw University year back.
Yes, sir.
Are you?
Yes, sir.
Because from face, I don't remember exactly your name, but then I can uh, I can recognize you from your face.
Thank you, sir.
What are you doing these days?
Yes, sir. So I got appointed as a high school teacher here in Badamba, Cuttack
Oh, great.
district.
Good,
That's
good,
why I
good.
left Ravenshaw.
But no friend told me, no, none of your friends told me that you joined somewhere. Anyway, but I was wondering that where did you go actually? Good news. Yes,
Sir, actually, I
anyone?
was missing that opportunity to study there in Ravenshaw.
Yes, Madhava?
So I'm missing that opportunity to study there in Ravenshaw.
Oh,
That
no
atmosphere
problem.
is really different.
You can come after having substantial experience of teaching in school. You can come back in
Yes, sir. Yes,
in part-time basis. Yeah?
yes, sir.
Yes, if anyone can like bring some sort of questions or queries, can come up, or else we'll close uh, today's involvement. If you allow me to do so, thank you very much again, once again, for like
Sir,
joining me. Yes, Gitanjali, you have some questions?
sir, ମୁଁ କହୁଥିଲି କି ଆମର ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଅଛି ନା? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
Yes, you are not clear because your background is a bit. Uh,
ସାର୍ ମୁଁ କହୁଥିଲି କି ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ହେବ
Sorry.
କୋଉ ମାସରେ ହବ?
ତମର ଏକ୍ଜାମ କେବେ ହବ?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ସେଠି ମୁଁ କହିପାରିବିନି କଣ ସେ ଇଗ୍ନୋରେ କଣ ସବୁ ଚାଲିଛି। You
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
can consult some of
It
the
was
people
it
who
was
are involved
supposed
there
to happen in the month of December.
in study
We
center
had
or
joined
regional
in
center. You can
January.
contact. No problem. I- I'm simple a counselor. Huh? I don't know much about like their programs and see today what happened is that even schedule was not shared with me and our coordinator called me off and told that evening I have a class. So I am in that state of affairs, you know. So maybe you can contact your regional study center or your uh, like this Ravenswood Study Center when your exams are likely to commence. Okay, so let's close. Let's call of the day for today. Uh, Thank you very much. Tomorrow we'll be meeting again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for being with us.
Thank you.